Here's another weekly roundup on Bitcoin, how the price action has maneuvered throughout this week, a little bit on how I've actually personally traded it, and what I'm looking next as we wrap up not only the week but the month of January here for the crypto giant. So, not wasting any time, let's just jump right on into this. And before I do, a quick word out to the sponsor of this video, myself. If you would like to see the updates in a more timely fashion, for example, some of the ones that I'm about to show in this video, even you'll note that I gave members updates basically 24/7 throughout this week. No news was needed or really even calculated in the making of those decisions. But overall, all my analysis, all my outlooks, CVO Academy, all the good stuff. You know where to look for it. It's in the link in the bio to go to the Discord where you'll have access to anything and everything I offer. Now, aside from that, let's take a look at Bitcoin here. So right now, seeing a little bit of a drop here from about $106,500, which we met yesterday on Thursday. Getting a sizable drop here, which for myself, I did personally hedge a bit against some of my longs as I closed out a bunch of longs. And I say a bunch, I closed out several Bitcoin trades that I took throughout the week on this little rise back up. Main two reasons was that this was the local gold pocket from the high to the swing low that we put in on Monday in this area, as well as where we actually topped off specifically was a target known as the 5-0 target that I'm going to cover here as well. So let's just take a look at how we, got to where we are on Bitcoin, which really isn't much different than where we've been, right? We've been basically just trading in this region now since the 19th, which is about, 10 going on 12 days ago, basically, right? The Sunday before last. Now, if you've watched any of the latest videos, been on the live streams, anything like that, when we were making this move down here, right? I was looking for potentially to come down to our quarterly pivot, which is a high time frame average of price, untapped level. Very likely we meet it in Q1 of this year. However, at the time, we actually were looking at this live on a live stream. I remember it was a Monday morning. And what we did here is we came down, we effectively took all the lows, you swept December's low as well, and you took one of the biggest trades I look for every single week, which is the previous week. So we took out all the lows here. Once we reclaimed the previous week low back here, I had noted that we had big potential now to run this back. All right. And what I was targeting for at the time, once again, in the Discord, you can see live time that I projected this type of scenario once, not trying to predict it by any means, but just being prepared for it, along with noting that this was an area to get long for sure, be it that we could have still seen the $86,000 region. But here was definitely an area to look for, as well as just having, stop loss below the low type situation. Now back here, we got that launch. Not sure what the negative news was at the time. I just bring that up because generally we're faced with some sort of a news catalyst, a negative one down at the low, an exciting one up at the high, and it's just time and time again. And at the end of the day, what did we do here? We took December's low. This is obviously the month of January. You took December's low. Smaller term, you took previous week low, right? We had some stair stepping areas up here, and then we ran it all the way up and we took December's high, effectively last year's high, the all-time high, and we put in what is known as a bearish reversal pattern known as the shark, which when we were trading all the way back down in this region here, I had targeted up towards this region, about the 110 to 112K area. We front ran that by about $500, in a sense, but by and large met the necessary value points by basically coming up and taking this area here. We then basically ranged around in this region, basically the rest of the week. Last week, we started with this week. Now we opened up on Monday right here with a nice little drop down below. With the shark pattern here, I'm going to kind of cover how we, maneuvered throughout this week, which, really wasn't that crazy of a week at the end of the day, but, definitely could have been had we lost some key levels here, but also gave some really good clean entries, stop loss below such and such for a nice move to the upside. Anyhow, so we had this, bullish sideways action. And once again, new, world leader here, most bullish week in crypto ever, all the new, deals signed and everything like that. Probably many people were piling into more than anything, it's altcoins, right? Everybody's holding alts. But anyways, we had, all the bullish news up here at the high, scary news down here at the low. Once again, same thing we see time and time again. The targets for this, bearish pattern are the zero point 0.5 Fibonacci retracement, and then if lost, which we did have a little bit of a time right here, right, a couple hours, that we start closing down below. And I was noting in the Discord that, generally when we lose this region, that, you get a pretty straight run back down to the 886. You go right through the gold pocket, right? There is no gold pocket support on this if the 0.5 is lost. After that, it would be the 113, which is our quarterly average down here, right? But the thing to look for here is that, while this is a bearish reversal pattern, this zone right here, the 0.5, also can lead you to a slight reversal here, at least short term. And that turns this into what's known as a 5-0, where you get a bounce from the 50% retracement, right? So from that, we have a few specific targets. And here in the Discord, you can see literally the live time updates I was putting out on January 27th on Monday, where I noted that I had a few longs that I'd had from, previous days before. I had stop losses in profit. The ETH one had gotten stopped pretty nicely. It pretty much went all the way back to the entry, which is where I ended up actually re-entering it. I took a long on Sunday, a new one that I ended up getting stopped out really, early, because once again, I, had noted that shark was possible and we had a lot more downside. And, what have you. So this was kind of where I was at, as we were kind of leading in 6:18 in the morning on Monday. Got the drop to the 0.5 Fibonacci. I had noted that very rarely would I enter a position that is this far underway, meaning that it's not a great entry for a short, would ideally not be looking there, should be looking for longs. Once again, these shark patterns usually blow through the 0.5. So I'm looking for a short just beneath the 0.5, and we'll be on alert if we close it above back the 0.5. Once again, that's the invalidation locally for more downside. This is very low tier entry. Risk must be managed. If I was going to be looking for the short, I did put that because, once again, as a trader in the short term fashion, that's what I was looking for. But I knew that could very well reverse in a 5-0, 743. Once again, you're getting live time updates in the Discord. And this is, once again, just starting off the week. Noted we were back to the 0.5, looking for a reclaim or rejection. Still hadn't entered a trade yet personally. 7:57 a.m., potentially reclaiming the 0.5, which was also our previous week low, which, as you all know, another thing I look for each and every week. So I'll showcase that really quickly as well. That's another reason why I was really paying attention for that 0.5 fib, which was 99,500 to get reclaimed or lost. Could turn this into a 5-0, meaning targets back to the 886 and the 113. Decided to take the long, stop loss below the low, right? So that was at 99,800 on Monday, all this coming in between 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. So not only was that 0.5 area so key in this overall pattern here, this was also previous week low, which, as I've stated, almost every single week, especially over here for the last few weeks, that you've seen them play out almost every single time. This was a previous week low sweep. This was a previous week low sweep. Previous week low here again. Start off the week, stop out everybody. Imagine how many people came in and tried, getting long right here, especially all that bullish news. You stop them all out. And not for nothing, I was aware that, had we started closing below here, we were all about to have a really bad week. And I even put that on Twitter. But had to be able to adapt to the data as it came in, right? Which I think I did a pretty fair job of doing, and alerting the members as well. And then from here, we were looking for a rally back up to a few key points, one of which being the untapped weekly pivot for the week, which was our average price from last week. I'd like to say it was in the $104,000 area. We had a weekly naked point of control in the $105,000 area. And then overall, we had the 5-0. We're going to go ahead and turn all this off now. We had the 5-0 target, right, come in. And you can see how that is exactly where we got to the dollar, right? Since then, we got a slight rejection here. Now, overall, this was also, once again, in our gold pocket area. Okay, like you're talking, very key region to be aware of, that we did get the drawdown here. You get the retracement into this area here. Likely we get a little pullback as well. What else could we have looked for at this region as far as confluence would go? Well, if you followed, any of my, trading strategy here, is that once that previous week low is, reclaimed, what do we look for? We look for a run of last week's range, which, wouldn't you know, got a nice little range rotation right to the 5-0 target, right to the high side of the range here. And then look where we are now, just right back down, rotated the range once again, back to the low. So at the moment here, it's Friday afternoon. Nothing really crazy like poking its head right out at me at the moment. I'm going to look to see how this month kind of closes out, as well as the week, and come back with, some fresh outlooks probably tomorrow and into, next week. Noted that the 5-0 target was met to the dollar. Obviously, a little Gatsby. Cheers to everybody. And just for a super clean version of what that, ended up playing out to be was our shark pattern to the 5-0. 5-0 target number one met. Previous week range rotated. Gold pocket area met as well. So once again, if you would like to join the CVO trading Discord, where I put not only short-term TA, long-term TA, some high risk, low cap, I call it beer money plays, the CVO Academy, where I cover all of the tools and resources and how I approach the market daily, as well as exclusive member only market videos where I just put what I'm looking for as we walk into February as far as the overall market would go. And when an impending altcoin season, I do think is, coming, what I would be looking for, what kind of levels and what is like attracting my thoughts to that and why and when. The link to join is in my bio there to catch any updates over the weekend. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a great remainder of your day. Enjoy your weekend. And I wish you all a great, starts to February. And we'll do it all again next week, folks. And until then, everybody, cheers.